actually carries an increased risk of reinfection and has been found in a handful of countries. We are far from powerless against the virus, experts have reminded us in recent days. The tools that have reduced new infections, hospitalizations and death across the pandemic remain our best protection, epidemiologists, virologists and public health experts told the PBS NewsHour. Vaccines are safe, highly effective and one of the most important ways to protect people from severe COVID outcomes. On Monday, the CDC said that any person aged 18 and older who received their primary series at least 6 months ago should roll up their sleeve for a booster dose, a revision of their earlier guidance that recommended boosters only for certain groups. This summer, a growing number of, typically mild, breakthrough infections among fully vaccinated people demonstrated that despite their power, coronavirus vaccines have their limitations, as is the case with any vaccine. Couple that dwindling protection with colder temperatures, winter holidays and people spending more time indoors with others, and public health officials were already expecting to see more cases, even without the presence of Omicron. Though powerful in preventing hospitalization and death, immunization alone is not enough to slow the spread of the virus and its variants, so falling back on other public health measures can help. 3. Reliable and widely available rapid tests are critical to catching cases, both to take advantage of cutting-edge medications, as well as to protect loved ones if you're going to be traveling or in close quarters. Fortunately, this variant can also be detected in available PCR tests, Fauci said Monday, which means cases driven by Omicron won't evade our monitoring. From that field of research, best practices for policymakers include the need to appeal to people rather than to blame, shame or scare them into heeding public health measures, using clear, precise and predictable language in outlining those measures and why they are necessary, and understanding that, while some tactics may protect people's physical health, they also harm their overall well-being and prove unsustainable. Before authorized vaccines were available, lockdown measures stifled spread and protected healthcare systems from being overwhelmed, but those mitigation efforts came at a high cost. During the news conference on Monday, President Joe Biden said he did not see any need for such orders at this time if people got vaccinated and wore masks. The pandemic's latest variant is a real-life reminder of global vaccine inequity and what happens when low- and middle-income countries are not fully integrated into vaccination campaigns. But in low-income countries, that level of protection against the virus drops to 6%. Read more. For countries with few vaccine doses, fighting COVID-19 is a race from behind. We've heard a lot of platitudes about vaccine equity, but we haven't seen a lot of actions, McClellan said. In South Africa, about a quarter of the population has been fully vaccinated. Meaningful action also requires more than throwing doses at countries and expecting them to pick up the slack, McClellan said. Those hurdles, combined with the need for staffing as well as clear public health messaging, in part to counter misinformation as seen in the United States, complicate vaccine rollouts, McClellan said. We need to think about vaccines as a full end-to-end process, she said. This week, the World Health Assembly is gathering in Geneva to forge a new treaty with the goal of preventing future pandemics, and McClellan said countries must commit to more equitable distribution and manufacturing of vaccines to reach that goal. Key questions need to be answered about the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron, including whether it is more transmissible, produces more severe disease, and responds to vaccines and medicines. Laura Santanon is the data producer for the PBS NewsHour. Support PBS NewsHour. Support for NewsHour provided by